Welcome to the Man United stream. Hope you're all doing well out there. We're going to jump straight into the show today because there's so much to talk about and so much to cover, so let's get straight to it. Yesterday we had the whole Mason Greenwood announcement that he's not coming back to Manchester United. We already had leaks coming out of Manchester United a day or two before suggesting that Mason Greenwood will not be allowed back as a Man United player and not allowed back into the squad, and that is exactly what happened. Richard Arnold and the Glazers made a complete U-turn, having assessed the public opinion and the outrage of everyone saying that he shouldn't be allowed back into Manchester United, and it's not the way Manchester United operate. They do not want so much controversy around Manchester United, and the Glazers and Richard Arnold first did point out that they're going to bring him back, or suggested that they'll be bringing him back in the statement made last week, but then the outcry was so much, they knew that it was going to be too much heat for them, so they did a complete and utter U-turn. The Glazers have done this in the past, where they've made Manchester United put something out in the media and then seen what the reaction is like, and then they move from there. The Super League is a perfect example of that, when they're trying to introduce this whole new Super League, and the outcry from the fans and the media was such that they had to backtrack really quickly, and that's what made them in fact come out and say we might actually sell the club. I don't know what your opinion was of Greenwood and the whole issue surrounding it, but I just simply want to put a line underneath this and move forward as a United fan base and go forward and support the club, support Ten Hag and get the Glazers out. That's the end objective, and I want every fan out there doing the same thing and believing in the same thing, that we need to get the Glazers out and get a new owner who actually cares about the club and where it's going in football terms. So let's get straight into the news around Manchester United and the footballing news. We've heard that Norman Emran has been sold to a Dutch club. The 20-year-old had a really good pre-season and was looking promising, but Manchester United felt that he needed more football time. They must have a buyback clause in there, but they've sold him to the Dutch club Groningen. I hope I pronounced that right, but he's been sold to the club, and we wish him the best of luck and hope he becomes a top footballer and then returns to Manchester United one day. We've had reports from ESPN Sports that Manchester United have earmarked at least 2 new players to come in before the transfer window closes. We already know who they might be. It is one that's a goalkeeper, and the other one is probably Sofian Amrabat or another midfielder. We're hoping that it's Sofian Amrabat, so let's watch this space. But the report did go on to say that all these incoming signings are dependent on Manchester United selling players. But for me, that's just ridiculous. For a club the size and stature of Manchester United cannot be waiting on sale of players before they go out there and buy someone for 30 million. Amrabat should have been done a long time ago. Ten Hag should have had his man a long time ago, and we might not have been discussing the whole start of the season and how United have looked really weak in the middle of the park. Talking about looking weak in the middle of the park, there was rumours circulating everywhere yesterday about the midfielder Ryan Gravenberch, who plays for Bayern Munich. He's 21 years old, he used to play for Ajax and he used to play with Ten Hag, and that link might be reconnected if Gravenberch comes to Manchester United on loan. There's talk that Thomas Tuchel, the Bayern Munich manager, will be sitting down with Ryan Gravenberch in the next couple of days and discussing his future at Bayern Munich, his plans for him and whether he wants him to stay or whether he will allow him to leave on loan. But we did report yesterday that this might not be as simple as it looks. There is Liverpool also lurking around, and Liverpool have been keeping tabs on Gravenberch for a long time and they really want him, and these are just 2 clubs that we know of that are interested in Ryan Gravenberch. I think there'll be a lot more clubs looking at this situation with Gravenberch and will probably go in there and try and sign him if they get an opportunity. He is a very, very good player. Gravenberch is a young player with huge potential, and he's a decent all-round player, can go forward, defend and do everything on the pitch. He's just a complete player and he would fit into any team. But as we discussed yesterday, the whole Gravenberch issue puts a doubt on whether Amrabat will be signed for Manchester United as well. Can Manchester United go and get both of them? A lot of fans have been asking for both these signings to take place, Gravenberch and Amrabat. Now that's going to be really interesting because I feel that Manchester United haven't got the funds available to go and sign both of these players. It's a shame. It's weird. Why would a club such as Manchester United be struggling? But this all leads back to the Glazers. I keep saying it. The Glazers are running amok with Manchester United. They just turned the whole club into a joke where we can't go and sign these players. This was a summer transfer window where we had to back Ten Hag and go out there and get him the players that he needed to transform the team and make it his own. But what the Glazers have done is a complete and utter mockery of the club and the fans and everyone around it. They should have sold the club well before the transfer window opened, so it allowed Ten Hag and the team to settle down, bring in the players they needed and go and move forward. But it just illustrates how much the Glazers do not care about Manchester United as a club and what it's doing on the pitch. They don't care. They don't care whether the sale of the club affects Ten Hag or whether it affects the football. They don't care about the fans. They've never cared. And this is just another example of how the Glazers have treated the club. They only care about the business element of it, and they only care about how much money they're going to make out of the club and not what's going on the pitch. It's clear to everybody concerned that if Manchester United had a new owner right now, we would definitely have the funds to go out there and buy these players. But right now we're struggling to even go out there and buy someone for 30 million. But I'm still hopeful. I'm still hopeful that the whole Greenwood issue and the pressure that's been turned up on the Glazers and they're feeling the heat, they might turn around and put some money down and buy the players that we need. Can you imagine having Amrabat and Gravenberch in the same team and Casemiro? Our midfield would turn into a beastly midfield. I mean, imagine that. That would be absolutely insane. We can only live in hope. That's all I say. Let's wait and see what happens. I hope, fingers crossed, we can get Amrabat and we can get Gravenberch. It would be the best transfer window ever. Moving on from Gravenberch and Amrabat to Raphael Varane, we heard yesterday that there's interest from the Saudi clubs Al Ittihad in Raphael Varane and they want to sign him, but we were yet to hear whether Varane himself would want to move to Saudi, and that's still a question mark. We're not sure whether Varane would want to move to Saudi or not. We are hearing rumours that he is settled at Manchester United and does not want to move, but that could change any minute. The French journalist Julien Laurens did come out this morning and confirm that Varane is settled at Manchester United and does not want to leave for Saudi and will not be taking any offers seriously. But the question I have, if an offer did come in from a Saudi club, would Manchester United accept it? And if they do accept it, what would that mean for Varane? Would he then consider the offer? Would he know that Manchester United are willing to sell him and he might then leave for Saudi? Who knows? Let's wait and see. Let me know what you think of the whole Varane issue. What do you think? Do you think we should sell or keep? Please drop your comments below. Let us know what you think. It's always lovely to hear from all the channel subscribers and all the fans of Manchester United. Let us know what you think about the whole goings on the transfer window and Raphael Varane, Amrabat, Gravenberch, Mason Greenwood, whatever you want to chat about, drop your comments below. And if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button and smash the like button as well. One thing we're definitely sure about is that Manchester United are going to sell Dean Henderson in this transfer window to Nottingham Forest. They've been talking about it and negotiating for some time, and they're really close to getting this settled and getting this done, and Manchester United are already looking for a replacement goalkeeper. We've been told by reports that Benfica goalkeeper Odysseys is a player that Manchester United have been keeping tabs on and have reached out to and could be a possible replacement for Dean Henderson if Dean Henderson ends up leaving in this transfer window. Talking about players leaving, the Harry Maguire situation seems to not have moved any further forward. We're still hearing that Harry Maguire is at the club and is not looking to leave, despite having been told by the club that they want him to leave and they want him to accept offers from other clubs. There's still rumours going around that West Ham are still looking to sign Harry Maguire and haven't left the table just yet. So Harry Maguire could leave by the end of the transfer window. We're not quite sure. It might even be that the Glazers might finally decide to pay him off what he's owed and Harry Maguire might leave at the end of the transfer window. We're not quite sure what will happen with this situation, but anything could change overnight with Harry Maguire and we could be saying goodbye to him before the transfer window ends. But one thing is for sure, with the Harry Maguire not moving, we have missed out on Benjamin Pavard from Bayern Munich, who's going to Inter Milan, and he's been sold for 30 million, which I thought was quite reasonable for Pavard. And if we had sold Maguire, no doubt, Ten Hag and Manchester United would have gone in and got Pavard for 30 million. It was like for like swap, and it would have been a huge upgrade from Maguire to Pavard. We heard from Fabrizio Romano yesterday that Manchester United have still got 3 players shortlisted as centre-back replacements if Harry Maguire does end up leaving in this transfer window. We already know that it's Todibo, Tapsoba and Marc Guéhi. So everyone is just waiting and seeing what happens with Harry Maguire and whether he will end up leaving in this transfer window or not. Let's wait and see. I think he will end up leaving in this transfer window. I cannot see him staying. I think deep down Harry Maguire himself knows that he needs to leave Manchester United to get regular football and to keep his England place and captaincy. But right now he's facing off against the Glazers and seeing who backs out first. I think when it comes closer to the transfer window closing, I think one of the parties will end up giving up. Whether it's the Glazers who pay out Harry Maguire or Harry Maguire just simply decides that he's going to leave Manchester United and go off to West Ham or another club. Finally, we can start looking forward to this weekend's game at home at Old Trafford against Nottingham Forest. And there are rumours going around that Ten Hag is going to make some changes to the team by dropping maybe Antony and bringing on Sancho and maybe even dropping Garnacho. Let's wait and see. This game against Nottingham Forest will give Ten Hag some opportunity to go around and tinker with the team and see what works and see what doesn't work. I think he might make a few changes, but this is Ten Hag we're talking about. He might just stick to the first 11 that he's been playing in the first game and the second game. He might not make any changes. I personally think that he does need to take out Antony, who's not offering much on that right wing, and Garnacho maybe as well. I think he needs to switch him out as well. I would put on Sancho and Pellistri and see what happens in that game. I personally would put Sancho through the middle and put Rashford on the left again and see if that can work. One thing is for sure, if we go and lose or do not get the result that we need against Nottingham Forest, the pressure will be ramped up really high on Ten Hag and his players. So they really need to go out there and get this win. They need to get a good win against Nottingham Forest so their confidence is high going into the game against Arsenal away. So that is it for today's show. Hope you enjoyed it. Please smash that like button, and if you're new to the channel, please go ahead and subscribe. You were watching the Man United Stream, a channel for the fans by the fans.